Welcome back, guys, to Neo Racing. We are at Le Mans in the Nissan R92CP. This is a boost race. This is round 9 of our 10 race championship on Gran Turismo Sport. TY is on pole, followed by Neil, J-Hughes and Domingo. The only absentee is myself, Bidzster, because I have got disconnection trouble, as I explained in the last race, and we're off. Plenty of bumping and boring. Everyone really close. Into the first corner, Jamo's on the gravel and he's off! Slams into the wall in the background, Domingo's wide. Everyone else taking it nice and steady after that little spin from Jamo. But we're all through okay. Coming down the little chicane a little bit. Down towards the big Mulsanne straight. This is the version with the chicanes in, so this is the modern day version with the chicanes in. In the background, Mr. Slow One and Jamo, slight contact there as they run wide. Out of the corner now, we'll join the leaders. There they are, Neil and Jay Houston getting away slightly. Beautiful car there, you can see from that little glorious picture there, the Nissan R92CP from 1992. Beautiful car, very, very fast. One of the faster car from the Group C days. They go through the chicane, everyone else is here at the chicane as well. They're just breaking away slightly. Jamo's having a little look trying to get past Danny Quaver in the background. So you can see here, 3 in a line. Man of Steel, Danny Quaver, Jamo. But almost 4 with Mr. Sloan in the background. Danny Quaver's going around Man of Steel. Jamo's thinking about going the other way. As we go into the chicane, this is going to be close. Everyone's on the brakes really, really late because the brakes are good in this car, and Danny Quaver a little bit of a squirm there. Open the door for Man of Steel, but will he have the move done? Jamo's thinking about going up the middle, but thinks twice about it. Neil and Jay still breaking away up front, and it's anyone's guess. Remember, it's a boost race this, so that's why it's all very, very tightly packed, and we've got 40 minutes of this. In towards Mulsanne corner at the end of the straight, and Danny Quaver gives a nice tap to Man of Steel, who then tries to avoid everyone else and is in the gravel, so unlucky there for Man of Steel. Danny Quaver completely outbraking himself there. So there he is, 5th place. But he's used Man of Steel as a brake as such, but I'm sure he'll be letting him back through when he catches up with boost, so he's got boost on, so it's not much of a problem. Jamo's still behind, looking for a way through. Go on board with Jamo into the Indianapolis section. Into Indianapolis, runs slightly wide. He's opened the door for a few other people. Domingo's through. And Danny Quaver's having a little sneaky look, but thinks twice. Meanwhile, at the front, Jay Hughes took the lead from Neil. As they approach the Porsche curves, TY is closing as well. See in the background, side by side, as Neil has a tiny look towards Jay Houston, but thinks better of it, but Jay Houston does run a bit wide. Neil might have an overspeed here on catch up. Let's have a look at the second battle. Domingo, Jamo, such a rapid car this, everyone flying through. I was really upset to miss this race, but unfortunately I was still fixing my internet at this point, so myself, Bidzster, I was very upset about missing this race, but never mind, it's still a good race to commentate on, and always a pleasure. Domingo defending into the chicane from Jamo. Jamo had a little couple of sneak peeks, but nothing appearing as yet. So Jay crosses the line to lead the first lap as they come up towards the Dunlop chicane. Through the Dunlop chicane, Neil closes slightly. TY's closed down, and just in the background there, who was that running wide? I didn't see. I think it was Jamo. Never mind, we're all okay now. So they come up towards Tetra Rouge. And fast right, just a little tap of the brakes. Lift, tap of the brakes and in. Jamo looking to go past Domingo with the boost and the squeeze from Domingo. He's not wanting to let him past. As they go down the straight. Just past, Danny Quaver's coming now. There's the boost and the draft working together. See what they're going to do into the chicane. A little bit of a ghost there from Jamo, so I think the ghost setting was a bit high in this race, but seems to be okay so far. Oh, and Jamo makes a mistake now. Was he pushed Or did he do that himself? We'll have to get a replay of that. Now here's a replay of what happened to Jamo on that second lap. Was he pushed or did he fall into the first chicane? Danny Quaver tries to outbrake him on the outside and then get the inside, but then has to concede as they get the power on. And no, Jamo did it all by himself, just too much power, and then the car went round. Simple as that. But as we continue, there's Domingo fourth, battle for the lead. Jamo and Neil side by side into the second chicane. Neil goes a bit wide, Jay resumes the lead. Going through there, TY's closing up on the back of these three now. As they go down towards Mulsanne corner, Neil pulls out of the draft. Towards Mulsanne corner and round it. Jay Houston's still hanging on just by the skin of his teeth. But all seems to be okay. Towards Indianapolis, getting in the draft, trying to make the car as wide as possible, but you can't make it too wide, especially when booster's on. And that is the result. Neil goes around the outside with Jay, so close, but makes it stick almost as they come up towards Arnage, one of the slowest corner on the track almost, and someone's off in the background. Who was that? Danny Quaver outbraking himself. Unlucky there from Danny. And away from there, so recovered well. Is Jay Houston defending from TY now, because TY's joined the freight train, and looks like Domingo is too, so we've got fourth for the lead as soon as they come through the Porsche curves. Now this right-hander, and it tightens up on itself, and you've got a left. They're really careful through the line with this corner as everyone makes it through cleanly through there. As they go down towards the Ford chicane, TY's having to defend from Domingo now. Will Domingo have a little look into the chicane? I think he is. He has a look. Yes, he goes through. Good move there from Domingo. Jamo thinks about it as well, but runs a little bit wide in the process. Domingo makes a little error there. And that's all that TY is going to need. And Jay Houston's made an error as well. He's see the gap that Neil's got. Jay Houston just made a big error there. Neil's got a bit of a stretch advantage, so they'll want to try and catch him up if they can. Into the chicane, Domingo takes a defensive line to stop TY from coming up the inside. That seemed to succeed. Through the Dunlop bridge, through the little tight section, up towards Tetra Rouge. And then onto the straight, little top of the brakes and lift, and Jay Houston runs a bit wide. Everyone else is okay though. As they go down the Mulsanne straight, building up the speed to in excess of 210 to 220 miles an hour in this car. Really, really fast speeds. As we look a bit further back, there's Domingo, there's TY, and right behind him Jamo. As they come down towards the chicane, first chicane, everyone through there cleanly. No moves as of yet. Let's have a quick look at Man of Steel. There he is. 6th place. Danny Quaver 7th, who outbreaks himself slightly and just gets himself a bit crossed up, but in the process, but okay. Mr. Sloan at the back just trying to catch up after a few leery moments, I think. So there's Jay Houston, Domingo, TY, Jamo, more or less all in the same picture. There we are. There's Jamo at the back of this group. Remember, with boost, you get a little boost in performance on from the BOP, which is balance of performance rating. The further back you go. So, for example, at the front, you'll be running the actual specifications of the car. For someone in about 4th or 5th place, and halfway down the field, you're talking about probably having about 20 kilo, 30 kilo less, and about another 10 to 20 horsepower. So it makes a difference as TY makes a move on Domingo. And in the background, plenty of action behind in the background. Who's that? Who's gone off? Danny Quaver's off again. Jay Houston off as well. So I don't know what happened there. We'll get some replays on that. Here's a replay from lap 3 of what happened to Jay Hewson and everyone else that went off. So Jay Hewson's on the brakes, and I think he just went way too fast on the brakes. And then if we look for Danny Quaver, a Man of Steel there in the background, Danny Quaver's coming up and then just missed Man of Steel as well. So that's what happened there. Jay Hewson went off and then Danny Quaver went off as well. Meanwhile, the battle towards Indianapolis, only on lap 3, almost coming up towards the 10-minute mark in this race out of 40. TY defending from Domingo. So TY managed to get in front and he's keeping it all tied in for now. A little squirm into Arnage, very, very hard corner Arnage. He's got a little bit of adverse camber, so the corner slopes away from you and it just catches you out. You get a little nice on camber corner of Indianapolis, then you go off camber around Arnage. Really can catch you out as we go through the Porsche curves. Lovely section of the racetrack, very, very fast as you can see from the cameras there. TY still holding position, and we've got Jamo behind Domingo now, right almost up his gearbox. Jay Hewson using the boost and also Man of Steel to catch up to this group. And I don't know whether they're closing on Neil very slowly. Domingo looks up the inside of TY into the chicane, the 4 chicanes, 2 of them, everyone together, battle 4 positions. Man of Steel's just got past. I think he tried to get past Jamo and Jamo got him back, but yeah, there we are. Jay Hewson on the back of this tail as well. Man of Steel and Jay Hewson taking a different approach towards the Dunlop curve. As we look at Man of Steel, Jay Hewson's trying to go around the outside and then have the inside for the next corner. And he's got it, made it stick. Good move there from Jay Hewson as everyone goes through there. There's your leader, Neil Farmack. He's got a couple of corners lead, you can see there. And then there's TY going through the same picture there now. Domingo, Jamo, Jay Hewson, as quick as that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To Tetra Rouge. Jay Hewson a bit wide again, loves that wider line. As they go on to the straight. Jamo's thinking about making a move on Domingo here. Let's go with Man of Steel. Who's having a look at Jay Hewson as well. Let's go on board with Man of Steel here on the little roof cam to see what's going to happen. Is he going? He has to avoid on the brakes. He's going to hit everyone. Luckily, he ghosted. So lucky there. And TY, everyone else gets a bit caught out by that, but he's letting everyone else go. So good sportsmanship there by Man of Steel, but something went wrong there. He's going even slower now, so he's definitely got a problem of some sort, but just trying to gather himself together and probably change his underwear at the same time, because that was a scary moment. But as we continue going down towards the second chicane, a little bit more, well, not really strung out because they're still together as a 4, but that will not help them close up to Neil Farmack in the lead. So Man of Steel still up. That's Danny Quaver, probably just had a little moment, or he's cruising, so definitely a problem there for Danny Quaver. Man of Steel's recovered now, he's on the move. He's gathering himself up and changing his underwear. So as we go down to Mulsanne corner, Jay Hewson, 3rd place. Domingo up to 2nd. Through Mulsanne corner, just heard Neil's car go through as Jamo has a very squirmy moment out of that car, trying to get the whole of this 800 horsepower, 850 horsepower down on race setup. As Jay Hewson goes side by side with Domingo coming down towards Indianapolis. This is going to be a result of whoever's got the biggest stones. Almost touching as they go into the corner, and Jay Hewson goes around the outside, takes the line over the speed and into the corner. Very well done there from Jay Hewson, good move. Domingo, good awareness. TY up behind him, almost pushing him through Arnage. Everyone through nicely, and coming down towards the Porsche curves now. 13 minutes into this 40-minute race, and Domingo putting the squeeze on Jamo, saying you're not going that way, sunshine, but he is. He's going to try and stick his nose in there. Now he's had to back out of it, in towards the Porsche curves now. Round the 1. 2 fast lefts now, really fast left. Little bit of a lift for this second one. Lift even more for this right-hand turn. And then lift and then maybe tap of the brakes just so there from Domingo. Just a slight tap of the brakes into the last bit of the Porsche curves and running down towards the Ford chicanes, which are the last corners on the lap of this fabulous Le Mans circuit. Domingo there having to keep an eye on his mirrors as well as forwards because Jamo's all over him like a rash. It's a complete lap number 4 and on to lap number 5. Neil Farmack there in the lead through the Dunlop chicane. These lot approaching the Dunlop chicane in towards the corner, and everyone through there nicely. Domingo a slight little cut there, but I don't think that'll have caused anything to be worried about. Just covering off Jamo just slightly with a different line, just to make sure he's not going to try anything. Jamo's right behind him now though. He's thinking about making a move. Doesn't. Oh, almost thinks about it into Tetra Rouge as Domingo just doesn't. I think Domingo was using his mirrors there and didn't quite look into the apex of the corner and got caught out a bit, but as Jamo's up in the draft now, we're all drafting each other. Draft and boost working. There's Domingo, there's Jamo, the man of steel. They go down towards the chicane. TY's got past Jay Houston as... Who was that sliding off? Man of steel. Something happened there. Again, we'll try and get a replay on that. Right, here's a replay of what happened to Man of Steel on lap 5. When he had a little moment and he just completely misses his braking point. Outbrakes him on. Luckily went to the left and then hit the wall, and then the gravel stopped him, so he was trying to avoid everyone else, so unlucky there for Man of Steel. But as things stand, Neil Farmack in the lead. TY was second, now he's third because Jay Houston's just drafted past him. In down towards the second chicane. Hard on the brakes. Round the corner. Out of it, shoot back down the Mulsanne straight. Third section used to be one long straight back in the day, but in 1990 they put the chicanes in to try and slow the speeds down because the cars in the late 80s were reaching speeds of up to 240 miles an hour. And as you can see, it's just Armco at the side, there's not really much protection, so really, really, really fast cars. And just as you saw there, Danny Quaver going a little bit wide in the background. As everyone gets together down towards Indianapolis, drafting. TY moves out to make a move for second place to try and get it back. And he succeeds, whether he went through or on speed or Jay Houston lifted. We'll see. Go down through Indianapolis up towards Arnage, which is his right-hand corner, one of the slowest corners on the track, and accelerate out, building the speed up towards 180 to 190 miles an hour again before they get to the Porsche curves. TY's having to think about defending a tad. You can see defending there from Jay Houston, who tries to go around the outside, but nothing's going to work there, and you don't want to go too wide, otherwise you get dust on your tyres, and then you end up in that gravel trap and spinning your wheels, losing a load of time. They go through the last end of the Porsche curves. Jay Houston a little bit of a offline there, but doesn't seem to losing too much speed. They go into the Ford chicane. Jay Houston really closing up on the back of TY now. There's Domingo and Jamo right behind. Still all very close. There's a little peek into the Dunlop chicane. He's right behind him now, almost pushing his gearbox. As we go on board with Jay Houston now, onto the roof cam, thinking about making a move but not yet, and let's go back onto the Jamo cam on the roof of Jamo's car as they come in towards Tetra Rouge. Top of the brakes, into the corner, fire it out the other side. Man of Steel's just behind this lot, you can see here, but as we go on board with Jamo, you can see them all now closing up. TY managed to get a good run out of Tetra Rouge there. And he's pulled away from Jay Houston a bit. Domingo's actually closing up on Jay here, so we'll have to keep an eye on this. Will he go for a move into the first chicane or set him up for the second one? There's no one's going to make a move into here, I don't think. They're all a bit too strung out. Man of Steel's back on this group now after his change of underwear moment a few laps ago. They all go down the straight. Domingo's a little bit slower off that corner that time, losing a bit of speed. Man of Steel almost, in fact he is, he's passing Jamo now, got the overspeed with the boost out of that corner. TY's slowing up, don't know what's happening there with TY, but all of a sudden he's lost the position to Domingo, unless he made a mistake somewhere. But wow, the car's all over the place. TY's, I think the balance of the car's changed, because TY's really struggling. He's almost going to get passed by Jamo here if he's not careful. J.U.'s having a little sniff at Domingo, and towards Mulsanne corner, round it. TY goes wide, he's off. TY's off. Made a mistake, off, and he's come back on. Eager on the power, really eager on the power to get going. Get through them gears, TY. Meanwhile, Domingo and Jay side by side again up towards Indianapolis. Ooh, outbrake the other one. Domingo had to back out of that then, because Jay Houston just came straight across in front, saying that's my line, I'm having it. And towards Arnage. Jamo still ahead of Man of Steel. Domingo went wide there. See the gap between Jay Houston and Domingo now. Domingo made a mistake there. Went wide, bit too much on the curb, lost traction. That just shows you lose a good second and a bit just by spinning your wheels upon a curb. But luckily with boost, he'll be back on his tail in about half a lap or a lap or so, as he goes a bit wide there as well. So if you're driving like that, you'll not be closing up. All you've got closing up now is Jamo, right up your back end. Going through the Porsche curves into the last little bit, the one that catches most people out, 'cause it's tighter than most others, and they all get through it nicely. As we go down towards the Ford chicane, TY a little bit further back, slowly catching up with the boost. So lap times will not be relevant in this race, because if you're further back you're going to do a faster lap time than you are if you're at the front. Not a fan of boost races myself, but it provides some good close action on track, but it's not necessarily good for when you're doing a strategy race. But for a race like this where your tyres and fuel should last most of the race, you'll be fine. Tyres might wear off towards the end, but the fuel will be fine. These cars have got a big enough tank to cover 40 minutes, I would imagine. Jay Houston second place, pulling away a bit. He's after Neil, he's after this man. Neil Farmack in the lead, controlling the race so far. There's Jay Houston second place, and everyone else trying to be third. Domingo in front of Jamo, who all over his back, and in the background I still made a little error there, run a bit wide, and TY's going to come sailing through. There he goes. Just shows you running wide, losing that couple of seconds, and then that's all it needs. But now he's going to be in the draft of TY, and he's trying to get him back. TY's now in the draft. There he is of this man of Jamo. There's Jay Houston towards the chicane. Here's Domingo and everyone else. Jamo through, everyone else through. Meanwhile, a bit further back, there's Danny Quaver soldiering on. Oh, running wide. He's not enjoying this car, I don't think. He's finding it a bit hard to control as of this man. Just a slow one, but they are soldiers. They are soldiering on with everything. And racing on. Every point counts in this championship. Even if you're lower down, the points still count. There's everyone still in order. Domingo, Jamo, TY, Man of Steel, the battle for third place. Everyone a bit more strung out, but I'm sure they'll be back together in a lap or two. Or maybe not even that. As we are just over the halfway mark in this race. 22 minutes and 25 seconds and counting. Towards the 40-minute mark, which is the limit on this race. As we go up towards Indianapolis, down the back straight. Down towards Indianapolis, everyone in the draft. Man of Steel having a little look at TY. Everyone else trying to be careful, trying to pick the lines between defensive and aggressive. In towards Indianapolis, the fast little kink on the brakes into the other bit. Jamo's run wide, he's left it too late. Jamo's run wide, he's off into the gravel. Rejoins, but he'll be back with boost. Don't you worry about that, he'll be back. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. But that was a very, very bad impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I do apologise. But as we continue, TY Close behind Domingo, getting the pressure on in the ever yellow and blue colours of TY. A bit like Bidzster with his orange, or Neil with his various forms of red or blue. Into the out of the Porsche curves down towards the Ford chicanes. There's Neil Farmack just coming round the last one there. There's Jay Houston just coming through the first one, so they've closed him down a little bit, but not too much. Neil Farmack's last lap, 3:24. What would Jay's lap be? 3:23.5. So he's closing up by a good half a second to a second a lap. So that might close up towards the end of the race. There's everyone now in a gaggle. Jamo looking down the inside of Jamo. Man of Steel looking down the inside of Jamo. I'll get my words right. And makes it stick. As they go through the little forest S's, through the S's and down towards Tetra Rouge. Jamo's looking up the inside, but not through Tetra Rouge. You've got to be very careful. Tetra Rouge is a good corner to set someone up for the straight on, but if you pass around there, you're going to have no more speed for the straight. So it's a compromised corner as Jamo goes side by side now with Man of Steel. Almost there. Man of Steel moving it, just slightly moving across to take a slightly defensive line. Is he? Yes, he is. Everyone's on the brakes now. Into the corner. Domingo's right behind TY, still keeping the pressure on. TY runs a tad wide but gets away with it. Jamo decides to go all on the curb. As they go down towards the second chicane now, so second bit. There's Neil Farmack approaching the second chicane. There's Jay Houston. You can see now, you can see Neil in the distance. And these lot can see everyone in the mirrors. As Domingo's defending from TY. TY's got Jamo on the side of him. TY's run wide and going to be compromised on speed. And no! Too much power. Big little tank slapper moment. Big tank slapper moment, but recovers it. But it's consequently lost 2 places in the process. But TY will be back. He's already back now. He's in the draft. And the boost. Both working to his advantage as he come down towards Mulsanne corner. And around Mulsanne corner. Jamo runs a bit. Man of Steel runs wide. TY goes through. Bollard in the middle of the track there. From when TY went off a lap ago, or it might have even have been Danny Quavers from a couple of laps ago. So Jamo, TY, Man of Steel, 4th, 5th, 6th. And towards Indianapolis, a little kink, and then Indianapolis itself. Jamo too early on the power into the wall. Luckily visual damage, but just shows you the power of this car. Trying to get 800 plus horsepower down in on such a small bit of racetrack has those kind of consequences sometimes. Just got to be really careful with it. Jay Houston's broke away from this pack, so Jay Houston's definitely after Neil now as Man of Steel and Jamo make contact as they go through side by side through the Porsche curves. They're mad. Jamo makes a slight little bit of contact and gets through. So Man of Steel demoted to 6th place. Looks like Domingo might be demoted to 4th place at this rate because he's got TY all over him. But now Jamo's all over TY, so that might take the pressure off slightly. As we now go towards the Ford chicane and round it. Round the second part. Domingo a little bit hot into there, but okay, that's why the car goes to slightly TY flashing his light saying, come on, get a move on. And he's going to get him to get a move on because he's on the inside. He's going to try and pass him. Try and get the move done before the chicane if he can, but Domingo's going to keep around the outside on the brakes. Will he outbrake himself? Nope, keeps it all good for now. The car still ghosting, so I don't know why that is, but TY lost a bit of traction there and he's lost positions. Lost 8 positions, sorry, to Jamo, who carries the speed around the outside to the inside of the next corner. Will TY set him up for the straight? I think he will. Or will he try to pass him into Tetra Rouge? No, he's going to try and dart back in. Man of Steel's going to have a run now because he went slightly offline. So, got it all to do to his TY. Having said that, he's not got Man of Steel past him yet. Good little battle this. TY's in the draft of Jamo in front, so that means he can pull away from Man of Steel slightly, who just tucks back in behind the draft and then pulls out again to try and see what he can do, but has to concede on the brakes. So that wouldn't have worked into there, actually wasn't close enough. As they go out of the chicane, let's check on the leader, Mr. Neil Farmack in the lead. Through the second chicane, comfortable advantage over the next guy there, Jay Hewson, probably a good 8 second to 7 second advantage so far, so that's not bad. There's Domingo is third, fourth Jamo, fifth TY, Man of Steel sixth for now. This could all change. Go out of the second chicane. TY looked like he got a decent run there towards Mulsanne corner. He'll go down the straight, he'll be in the draft of Domingo as well. Everyone still keeps line of stern into Mulsanne corner. And get the power down, all 800 horsepower. Building his way up to 200 plus miles an hour again. Meanwhile, a bit further back, we've got Danny Quaver and Mr. Slow One battling it out together for honours of being 7th. Mr. Slow One on the grass there, very, very close to throwing it away. Meanwhile, back to these lot who've reached Indianapolis finally. TY's ahead of Domingo, he's got past him. Jamo's right behind again. But let's have a look at Danny Quaver and Mr. Slow One into the chicane. And Mr. Slow One doesn't manage to get through past Danny Quaver that time, but will he get in the draft and try and have a go in a few corners time, I would imagine. Here's this lot, TY from Domingo, Jamo and Man of Steel, but Jamo was all over Domingo. As they come down towards the Porsche curves. Into the first part. Crucially get this part right, because then that carries the flow through for the second bit. As Jamo has a little peek at the inside but thinks better of it, but he's got to be careful because Man of Steel's there waiting to pounce through the last bit of the Porsche curves. Jamo's got a good run there, he's got a very good run side by side with Domingo. Side by side, just got it done. Keeps to the left to defend, just to make sure Domingo's not going to try any last minute dives, and he doesn't. Good move there from Jamo, carried the overspeed and gained the position. Man of Steel there in 6th place. Now it's his turn to try and get past Domingo, or try and stick with the pack at least. There's Jay Hewson on his mission to catch Neil Farmack. Last lap was a 3-minute 23.7. Neil Farmack's last lap 3-minute 24.6. So he's closing up a bit, but by looking at the gap, if Neil Farmack can keep it consistent, there he is, then I think he'll be in for the win if he can keep it consistent and don't bin it. There's Jay Hewson, his nemesis, who's chasing him, and then there's TY third. Slight little gap between him and Jamo now, but that might come down with the draft on the straight. Let's check on the let's wait, because Jamo looks like he's got a decent run here. Let's go on board with Jamo. We're on the bumper cam as he pulls out to overtake TY. As we ride on board with TY now, you can see in the mirror, we can see Domingo closing up as well. Let's go back to the outside camera for this chicane. TY tries to outbrake Jamo. Jamo's on the inside though, he's got the correct line for the right hand part of the chicane and gets the position done. But he's got to be careful now, because they'll all be drafting him now. He's the one that's splitting the air for everyone. Everyone else is in behind. Go down towards the second chicane. TY's closing. TY's going for the move. He's going to go for it. He's on the inside. Domingo's trying to follow him through. Domingo doesn't manage to do it, but TY gets the position back. So position swap and position swap. As quick as that between two chicanes. Good moves. There's Jamo. There's Domingo under pressure from Man of Steel now. Will Man of Steel have a little move out? They all move out at the same time. Man of Steel moves out to try and pass Domingo. Going to do it under the brakes. He brakes early though. Or did Domingo brake too late? No, looks like Man of Steel conceded to Domingo in that corner there as they exit the Mulsanne corner and up towards Indianapolis again. 200 plus miles an hour. Super fast in these cars. It's a new DLC car from the last update, so it's a new car. So we've tested new DLC cars in this championship, and they all seem to be very good indeed. And into the chicane, TY defends from Jamo, who has a little look, but he's gone wide off. Man of Steel had a little error there as well, but it looks like he might capitalise from Jamo's mistake, but Jamo's going to stay at the inside, but no. Man of Steel runs wide. He just taps Jamo as he comes back on, and then back down a 6th, so that could have all ended in tears, but luckily it all was okay. Man of Steel still trying to keep with Jamo there, side by side down towards Porsche curves, and Jamo's slightly in front, just needs to tick to the inside, defend slightly, and he's kept the 5th place. Meanwhile, there is Jay Hewson on his way to try and catch this man, Neil Farmack, who's still in the lead, controlling the pace. 33 minutes out of 34 minutes there, just gone over, so 6 minutes remaining in this race, so probably another couple of laps. Neil starts lap 11. Jay Hewson there, just about to start lap 11 as well, so he's closed it down a bit, and then here's these 4, still battling at it, TY a little bit ahead. Domingo there with Jamo all over his gearbox, almost in it in fact. Out of the Ford chicane, Man of Steel got a little bit of a squirmy line through there, lost a bit of speed. Domingo trying to defend from Jamo in towards the Dunlop chicane. Man of Steel runs wide in the background. There he is, just rejoining there, so completely outbraked himself. So he's got some work to do now, but with the boost he should be back on these guys by halfway down the straight. Domingo still keeping Jamo at bay, who goes right behind him, so late on the brakes into the little S's there. As they come through Tetra Rouge, Jamo with a fast line and pushing him round the corner, saying, come on Domingo, get on with it. As they go onto the straight, pulls out to try and go side by side. He could have done with staying in the draft a bit longer, but I think he's pulled out too early. Very, very close. Let's go on board with Jamo so you can see how close it is. There's Domingo on the left, Man of Steel in the mirror coming up, back to the outside, into the chicane. Jamo tries to outbrake him and hits him. Almost takes him off. And then spins as he puts the power on. Oh, unlucky there for Jamo. Get it going, Jamo. You've still got another lap after this, probably. Still got time to catch up. Man of Steel 5th, Domingo 4th. So we'll get a replay on that and assess how it happened. Meanwhile, at the front, Neil Farmack controlling the race. Just needs to keep it going as it is. There's Jay Hewson in the background, so he is closing, but if Neil Farmack can keep this same pace, he should be able to hold on to it. 24.6, 24.1 the last 2 laps he did, whereas Jay Hewson 23.7, then the 24.9, so a little error on the last lap, so more or less keeping the gap the same. TY there in 3rd, and Man of Steel right behind Domingo for 4th place. On the brakes into Mulsanne corner, slowing it down, really slowing it down. Got on the gas, trying to avoid the curb too much on the outside, otherwise you'll spin the wheels up no end and then spin out. And all good from there. Man of Steel pulls out the draft underneath, slops back into the draft. Was pulled out a little bit too early at the wrong moment and had to lift out of it, and now Jamo's right back on them. No rest for the wicked. And Man of Steel's having a little peek at the inside, doesn't manage to do it there. Will Jamo take advantage and go up the inside into Indianapolis? He is. He's up the inside, and they both just about giving each other enough room, and has to back out of it. Man of Steel brave to go around the outside there. Man of Steel runs wide though. Going to have bad traction. Will Jamo be able to get him on traction? He's pulling out. Will he get him? He's on the grass, Man of Steel. There's every little millimetre he can possibly get away with. Jamo's on the inside for the Porsche curves and gets the position. Man of Steel backs off wisely and gives Jamo the position. Well done there, good racing by them two. Now Jamo's right on the back of King Domingo looking for vengeance. As they go through the Porsche curves and out of them just before they approach the port. Oh no, we won't, we'll stay with it. Jamo pulls out and then doesn't. Snaps and then just stays back in, slots back in, not close enough to make a move that time round. As they go into the chicane, practically pushing Domingo through. And then right behind him again. They go out on the curve, on the corner, almost on the curb. So let's have a look. Man of Steel's closing up to the back of Jamo now, so Jamo got a bit of a bad run out of that corner compared to Man of Steel. And out of it, and 2 minutes left, so this should be the last lap. We'll see, it will come up on our screen when it does. Let's have a look at the back. Danny Quaver and Mr. Slowan's got past Danny Quaver, so well done to Mr. Slowan, made a position there. Good battle between them two, so we'll come back to that. No, we won't. We'll stick with it for now, because Danny Quaver's up the inside, up into Arnage. He's going too fast. He's way outbraked himself. So unlucky there from Danny Quaver. Outbraked himself. Tried to do it, got a bit too excited, and outbraked himself. So unlucky there. As we resume the battle for 4th place. Jamo's at the inside of Domingo. Just briefly, Jay Houston has closed up on Neil Farmack a little bit more, but not close enough yet to make a move. As Jamo on the inside has to let Domingo go, but defends from Man of Steel. So this could possibly be the last lap, so last chance to get any positions done. As we look to the front, there's Neil Farmack out of the second chicane. There's Jay Houston also coming out of the second chicane. So you can see it's visually closed down. There's Neil, there's Jay, you can see him in the background. So that's closer, and let's have a look at these boys. There's TY, here comes Domingo and Jamo and Man of Steel up the inside, but has to concede. Can't do anything there, got to be patient. As they come down now towards Mulsanne. Jamo under pressure from Man of Steel. He's trying to have a go at Domingo, but he's got Man of Steel all over him, and then Man of Steel tries to go right, and then Jamo says, not on your life, sunshine, you're going the other way. And Man of Steel says, no, I'm not, I'm going this way. Pulls back out on the brakes. No, has to concede. Doesn't want to overcook it, as Jamo does. Jamo's overcooked it into the corner, but managed to get decent traction. And just about keep him off, even though they are side by side. Man of Steel's on the shorter bit of racetrack, but if Jamo can keep it round the outside of the first part of Indianapolis, he'll get it under brakes into the actual left-hand part, but he's got to make sure he doesn't catch Domingo up too much, and he'll have turbulent air. Now a bit of a squirm, but manages to keep it under control. We are 40 minutes through, we are on the last lap. Jamo's made a mistake, he's thrown it away. Last lap of the race, thrown it away, hit the wall. Whether he can close it from there on, I don't know. Here comes Neil Farmack through the Porsche curves for the last time. Very well controlled race from Neil Farmack, not made one single error. Good controlled race. Jay Houston there, hopefully he'll be second. TY, 3rd place, pulled away from the Mad 4. And speaking of the Mad 4, here they are, Man of Steel round the outside of Domingo and goes off. Goes off completely. And now he's thrown it away, and Jamo's been thrown a lifeline. And he's pushing hard to try and get 4th place from Domingo, but here comes Neil Farmack across the line to win round 9 of the GT Sport Championship from Neo Racing. Well done to Neil Farmack. Jay Houston 2nd place. TY is going to come through the Ford chicane in 3rd place. Good race from TY. Pulled away from these mad lot who are still battling at it. Domingo under pressure from Jamo into the last chicane. Will Jamo take a dive? He's going to have a try. And taps him. They both go wide and off. But no, Jamo concedes to Domingo. He had to have a try. And then, so Domingo, Jamo, Man of Steel 6th place. Danny Quaver and Mr. Slow One are still battling at it though. Still got a race to go. Depends whether they can get it to the line in time before the timer. But we'll keep with it. So yeah, Neil's won the race from Jay Houston, TY, King Domingo, Jamo and Man of Steel 6th place. And 7th is still yet to be debated between these two, because just because Danny's in front doesn't mean that Mr. Slow One not going to catch him. So Danny got back in front after that, but after that outbreaking session we saw him do at this very corner. And no, Mr. Slow One's gone off. Don't do it now. But look at the boosters on and he might be able to catch up. So we'll watch him through the Porsche curves if it doesn't time out on us. As he goes through, and he's definitely slower. I don't know what's up with him, he's slowed right down. But Mr. Slow One's closing up. As he go through the Porsche curves. Through the right, into the left. Don't run wide because there's a wall there. And then through the left and into the right. He's having a look. Danny Quaver's going wide, giving him room. Mr. Slow One's trying to go around the outside of Danny Quaver, and he's done it! Round the outside. Good move by Mr. Slow One. Just got 4 corners to do now, Mr. Slow One. Don't throw it away. There's Danny Quaver. He's slowing down a bit, so there's obviously some kind of issue there, or he's just conceding, I don't know, but got to be careful through these last few corners. So Mr. Slow One will be 7th. Danny Quaver 8th. Good race by everyone. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time. There's your winner, Neil Farmack. Take care, guys.